First appearing in Incredible Hulk #1 from 1962, the Hulk is fueled by gamma radiation, possessing almost unlimited strength. The madder he gets, the stronger he gets. He can leap several miles in a single bound, and his body heals almost instantly. He possesses a strong homing instinct for the desert where he was born. A child prodigy, Bruce Banner grew up in an abusive household, one that would have a profound and long-term impact on his psyche. An introverted child, Bruce was ill-equipped to deal with the outbursts of his father, who called young Bruce a monster and terrorized both him and his mother. Bruce developed multiple personality disorder, repressing all of his negative emotions when the trauma became too much to take. This cycle of abuse continued until the day Brian Banner slew his wife in a fit of rage. And thereafter, Bruce was shuttled from relative to relative, and grew ever more socially awkward, even as his remarkable intellect became more apparent. The US Army recruited Banner to develop new weapon systems while he was still in high school. Bruce was placed under the authority of General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, a blustering, no-nonsense veteran. It was in the person of Ross's daughter, Betty, that Bruce found a kindred spirit. Both he and Betty had lost their mothers, and they were subjugated to the outbursts of raging fathers. An attraction soon developed between them. Prodded by his military handlers, Banner developed the G-bomb, a weapon harnessing the power of gamma radiation. On the day the bomb was to be tested, a reckless teenager, Rick Jones, drove out onto the test range on a dare, little realizing that he was standing on ground zero of the most potent explosive device ever developed. In an uncharacteristic moment of heroism, Bruce Banner rushed out onto the test site and dragged Jones to safety in a nearby trench before the G-bomb detonated. However, Banner was exposed to the full force of the weapon, his every atom bombarded by gamma radiation. A day later, Banner was still silently screaming, but the military doctors could not find anything wrong. He had miraculously escaped the blast unscathed. Or so it seemed, for the gamma radiation Banner had been exposed to had unlocked long-repressed feelings of hate and rage. When conditions were right, Banner found himself transforming into an unstoppable juggernaut of destruction, the personification of his long-denied dark side. At first, the Hulk only manifested at nightfall. When the sun went down, Banner would inexorably change into a green-skinned powerhouse and remain out of control until daybreak. Eventually, due in part to Banner's attempts to cure himself of these unwanted transformations, the appearance of the Hulk would be brought out by stress and anxiety. Whenever Bruce became outraged or fearful, the change in his emotional state would trigger the gamma radiation within his system, and the Hulk would live again. For a time, with the aid of Rick Jones, Bruce kept his dual identity secret, even when Hulk was hunted by the same military forces whom Banner toiled. But eventually the truth was revealed to the world, forcing Banner to become a fugitive, both to escape those who desired the Hulk's destruction and to protect those who might be harmed during his uncontrollable episodes. The character of the Hulk changed over time. Initially, he had a strong dislike for humanity. However, he mellowed out as the years went by, resulting in a more childlike Hulk. He simply wanted to be left alone, and couldn't understand why people were persecuting him. Eventually, the superpowered psychiatrist, Doc Samson, figured out the truth. Each of the Hulk's personalities represented a different fragment of Banner's shattered psyche. For a time, Samson was able to fuse the disparate elements of Banner's mind together, granting Banner the strength of the Hulk while allowing him to maintain his own intellect. But this construct proved unstable, and eventually splintered once again. Over the years, the Hulk has proved a force for good almost as often as he had been an enigma of destruction. He was instrumental in the formation of the Avengers, Earth's mightiest heroes, though friction between himself and his teammates quickly led to him leaving the group. He has stood side by side with the Defenders, Doctor Strange, Namor the Submariner, and the Silver Surfer in defense of our planet. But for the most part, the Hulk calls no man friend. Bruce Banner and his superhuman alter ego remain ever at odds as they strive to stay one step ahead of forces that would see the Hulk destroyed, or exploit his power for their own ends. The Hulk eventually found his way to Alaska, where Bruce Banner set up house in a remote cabin, far away from the rest of humanity and any of its troubles. It did not last long. Nick Fury found him and asked Banner to become the Hulk and help shield disarm a lethal satellite in orbit around the Earth. Banner agreed, but after the Hulk completed the mission, he was not brought home. Instead, he was fired into deep space by the Illuminati. Having learned of the Hulk's mission, they had seen a chance to get rid of the Hulk and had taken it, exiling him. Instead of reaching a verdant and unpopulated planet, however, the ship entered a wormhole and crashed onto war-ravaged Sakaar. Far from being a paradise, Sakaar was a savage planet filled with danger and a variety of alien life forms. Immediately after the crash, the Hulk was captured and enslaved. He was fitted with an obedience disc, a device that ensured he would do his master's bidding. Forced to fight as a gladiator in the Red King's arena, the Hulk survived his training and bonded with his fellow warriors, who became his warband, a tight-knit team of some of the toughest people and creatures from Sakaar and beyond. Fighting his way up the arena's chain, the Hulk got his chance at the Red King and wounded him before being brought down. Later, the Hulk and the Warband broke free and led a rebellion against the bloodthirsty Red King. When the Hulk's blood caused a flower to grow, many believed the Hulk was a legendary savior called Sakaar's son, destined to lead the enslaved to freedom. The Hulk and his allies succeeded in overthrowing the Red King, and Hulk placed himself on the throne, marrying one of his compatriots, Sakaar, the Red King's former lieutenant, who became pregnant with his child. Finally happy and at peace as King of Sakaar, the Hulk began to work to improve the lives of his subjects, until the ship he'd come to Sakaar mysteriously exploded. The massive blast killed millions of people, including Sakaar. Shortly after the events of World War Hulk, a new Red Hulk appeared, and Hulk's son Sakaar came to Earth from Sakaar to find and defeat his father. Soon after, the Red Hulk absorbed the gamma radiation from Banner, keeping him from turning back into the Hulk. Banner reconciled with Sakaar and set about training him to defeat the Hulk, should he return. Banner mounted an effort to save his ex-wife Betty Ross from the leader in MODOK. He was captured and imprisoned so the leader could Hulk out the subjects of his experiments. When Banner escaped, he discovered Betty had been transformed into the Red She-Hulk. As the leader fled, Banner had to absorb the radiation from the hulked-out people. Transforming him to the Worldbreaker Hulk, Sakaar finally had a chance to fight his father, but the furious battle made both monsters see the error of their ways. Returning to human form, they made peace. The Hulk later turned to Dr. Doom to physically separate him from Banner, taking part of his brain and putting it into a clone body. Banner eventually figured out how to make them whole again. Afterward, he rejoined the Avengers and even worked with S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Time Branch to try and fix the broken time stream. When Banner was shot in the head by an enemy, he was saved by Tony Stark using a version of the Extremis virus. The result was Banner becoming Doc Green, a new intelligent version of Hulk. Believing that gamma-powered monsters were too dangerous to exist, Doc Green created a cure, depowering A-Bomb, Sakaar, and Red Hulk. Eventually, Doc Green's intelligence started to fade, and he returned to the more mindless Hulk of old. After the future-seeing Inhuman, Ulysses Kane had a vision of the Hulk at the center of a rampage that left countless dead. Banner gave Hawkeye a special custom-built arrow that could kill him as he was transforming. When the time came, it worked. The Hulk was dead. He was resurrected several times, only to die again, firstly by the Hand, and again during Hydra's takeover of the United States. He was brought back a third time by the Challenger during a cosmic contest with the Grandmaster. The Hulk tore his way through the Avengers until Wonder Man tried to reason with him. Realizing he had been used, the Hulk smashed the pyramid he was supposed to collect for the Challenger, and later managed to hurt the immortal being. In the aftermath of that battle, Banner realized with horror that he could not die. If Banner was killed, the Hulk would still emerge and Banner would be healed. Haunted by this new knowledge, Banner left, leading a nomadic existence for a while, as most of the world considered him dead. It was not long before the Hulk's actions started to draw attention though. The Hulk was back and angrier than ever. Comment down below what videos you'd like to see in the future, and what you've thought of the Hulk in the MCU. Remember to like the video, and subscribe for more Marvel content, and follow me on my various platforms listed in the description. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.